Hello, hello, Trinity here, Self Mastery Business Coach, and I have the honor of interviewing Esmeralda Locke today. I met Esmeralda Locke through the Boss Babe Network, run by Kristen Boss, which was my last interview, which was amazing. And Esmeralda and I got to know each other a little bit, and she's got an amazing story and a phenomenal mission. So I'm super excited, Esmeralda, for you to share your story today. Esmeralda is the founder of Flourish, which is a Christian apparel company. It started back in January 2021. And I know that you have a vision of gearing this more towards ministry for women. So I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let you do all the talking. We want to know it all. Okay, so don't hold anything back, but start by telling us, who you are, your background, and your journey, where you got started.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. So I am thrilled and excited just to be a part of this. Yes, my name is Esmeralda Locke. I am a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and I have a passion for women. I love being able to just kind of like tap into the women's like heartbeat and kind of like unlock your voice, so to speak, right? So I have all girls. I have 4 girls and 2 grandkids. So my life is pretty busy. Yeah. I've been married to my husband, Keith, it'll be 5 years. So it's my second marriage. And so we just moved from Dallas, and I have been only in this area for it'll be a year in May. So it's been quite a journey just trying to find location, settle in, and just meeting new people. So it's been pretty fun. Like you were talking about earlier, yes, I do have this Christian apparel / women's ministry called Flourish, and it's spelled FLRSH. And so that kind of started last year. We were 100G. And so in the Dallas area, we were doing all these great events for women. We did this, UJAM dance for human trafficking, raise, money for awareness. And so we were able to kind of, even, sell, product. And then COVID came, and all of the plans that we had kind of like went away, and everyone kind of went into their own little bubble. And so my next thought was, okay, well, what can we do to still connect women? And so we decided to do online Bible studies, book clubs, and then just Zoom calls, because I know that during COVID, a lot of us were feeling lonely and kind of separated. And so we wanted to kind of rally women, even if it was 2 or 3 of us on a Zoom call, just to check in on each other. And so that's kind of how Flourish got started. But also like selling apparel, like creating apparel, t-shirts. Typically, mostly, I've done like a lot of the church events, which has been really awesome. And yeah, that's my passion, like being able to just, do these things for the ministry wise and for women.
I love it. You definitely have a phenomenal vision. So what was like the point in your life where you're like, I am taking the leap of faith into entrepreneurship?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously it was like during COVID, right? And I had a friend that was her business. And so her and her husband were so generous to come over because I started noticing that, I needed to do something. And not only that, I'm also involved in this prayer movement on Facebook, and I wanted to be able to give, and I had no money. And I'm like, well, how do I give? I'm really passionate about like praying for women and just interceding for our nation. And they were doing a fundraiser because they're going around to different cities and doing these rallies. And so I thought, well, how do I do this? Because I don't have money, I don't have a job. And so my friend taught me how to make shirts. And so my first big, gig, so to speak, out of the gate was, I'm going to go ahead and create these shirts, and I'm just going to collect, for the supplies, everything else, I'm just going to go ahead and just sew it into the ministry. And that's how it got started. And so then people started noticing my shirts. And so my husband does all the designs because he's a graphic designer. So we're able to kind of like work together. And so people were like, oh, can you make shirts? And so it just became this, business. And but I think initially my thought was, how can I bless someone, and noticing that there were other ways that I can, kind of create something with my hands. Like that was pretty fun, pretty amazing.
That is amazing. So what has been your biggest or toughest challenges on this journey?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think the challenge has been just the practical, like being able to like have like because of COVID,
Mhm.
like I was only doing stuff online. And so not being able to have a merch table. And I had up until I've had a few invites, which has been awesome. But initially my thought was I would love to have like more contacts with people. And so that to me was really difficult because I wanted to be able to not just say, okay, I'm making these shirts, but like, be able to pray for women and be able to minister to women and just be able just to encourage, them. And so that was really challenging, kind of being like in this little cocoon, like, in my room all day long working, but then not being able to connect with others was pretty difficult.
I hear you. So it probably felt like you were just a one woman show a lot of the time, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that, coming out of COVID, it's hard to be isolated. And so many of us miss community and that support piece, that encouragement piece, that ministry piece. I mean, the Heavenly Father knows how much we need that. We were meant to have a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
that's so great. So, looking at the vision for your future, my friend, looking back at your accomplishments, what's your next goal? What's your next aspiration or milestone that you want to hit?
Oh my goodness. Well, I definitely think, still working with, doing apparel, but I feel like there is this off-road for me, kind of sort of from the business and just kind of being able to gather women. So I would love to have an event, which it's kind of in the works. It just kind of happened. Um, and have this event just to like encourage women, like, how do I be a better businesswoman? How can I be a good mom or a better mom, right? Or how do I love my husband, when he's acting like a jerk, right?
Right.
So this is being real talk.
Yeah.
And being able to have these like TED Talks with these women that have experience and just kind of like kind of reach out to the women and bring them together and then teach them. Like I'm sure because of COVID, there's a lot of people that have kind of lost touch of how do I like create a resume? How do I prepare myself for an interview? Like those basic things, but being able to touch all facets of the woman's life, like, from motherhood to being a wife and all these things. So that is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, is kind of touching that those women, reaching out to them and then creating like down the road, more ministry, being able to, I love brand boss. I mean, not brand, I'm sorry. I love the boss babe culture.
Yeah.
And so the boss babe culture, a lot of times there's that negative comparison. And so I want to touch those women that, yes, it's okay to have a hustle. Yes, it's okay to like go for everything, but let's do it where we can encourage one another, where we're not like tearing other people's products down or their dreams down, because we're all trying to do the same thing, right? So I think that's where I feel like I'm kind of heading to.
You said it, Esmeralda. It's that difference between that scarcity mindset and that abundance mindset, right? We don't have to compete with each other. There's more than enough for all of us, and God has a plan, and each one of our journeys
Right.
is supposed to look different, right?
Exactly. And it's like the bread analogy. Like if you have a product that someone else is selling that you might think, oh, I'm not even going to try to sell shirts because so-and-so is selling a whole bunch of shirts. It's just like going to the grocery store. When you go and you walk down the aisle and there's all these breads, there's different flavors. There's different, like the way it's done, the way it's packaged. Everyone has their own individual package, their own fingerprint on whatever you're doing. And so we shouldn't feel threatened like, oh, well, that's just, way too much that I can't do it. No, like we want to see your products. We want to know about, why you're doing these things. And so, definitely don't feel like intimidated just because someone else is selling a t-shirt or mugs or, glasses, that you can't do it. There's space and there's room for everyone.
That's such a great analogy, bread. I mean, really, when I walk down, the aisle in Safeway or Walmart, there's a whole aisle just for bread. You're right.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful and encouraging, right? We can do
Yes.
this, and each one of us has our special, our unique God-gifted talents that we were uniquely designed to work within. So you'll find your niche. I think that's super encouraging.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important, because if not, like, if you start thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to do it, because you're never going to like reach those dreams that you have, because what if your dream is like somebody else's? It's okay. Like, just run with it, and go for it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, so thinking more about this beautiful vision for your future that you have, what do you think you need to do to get there? Like, what's your next steps? What's something that is going to just propel you?
Well, I think going back to just connection, because I'm new to the area, I don't know a lot of people. And so when I first moved here, I thought, oh my gosh, I had all of these plans. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I just felt like nothing happened. But I truly believe it's because I didn't slow down to build relationships and get to know people. And also, like, the culture in Dallas is way different than the culture here, and getting to know the people of the land, so to speak, and just take inventory. Like, what do people like? What are they into? Instead of, I'm going to do things my own way and they can just jump on. Because that was the mindset that I had, unfortunately. I just thought and it wasn't a bad thing. I was just like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to invite all these women. Well, who? Like, I didn't know anybody. And so I feel like right now I am definitely like taking the steps to connect with other women, and also kind of like take a seat back. Like, just because I'm a leader, it doesn't mean that I have to lead. I'm just there to learn, and being humble enough to, if there's a different mindset or lifestyle, like, okay, what can I learn from that, instead of me trying to take lead. So I think that's like one of the big, things that I'm kind of working on, is building like long lasting relationships and friendships that are not going to be friendships that are what's the word, I don't want transactional friendships. I don't want friendships where, hey, what can I get from you? I want to have transformative friendships where, it brings transformation and growth for both of us. Because if I'm just always about what can I get from you, there's no depth to that. It's just the surface kind of friendships. And I just can't do that.
Yeah.
It's definitely, going into that space of getting to meet people and learn the culture.
What a great lesson. Sounds like you have quite a bit of your own development journey, right? That kind of got you to this awareness, this clarity of what you want, what your next steps are. So I know we've talked about this before, and I just have to ask, thinking about self-mastery. So what does that self-mastery look like or mean to you? And tell us about your self-mastery journey. How have you reached this point?
I think for sure, just being very disciplined, right? Like, being able to, as I'm learning, like, I think it's really important that you have clarity even in the vision that you have. And so being able to tap into that, and I don't always get it right, because I get really excited about different things and I want to do stuff, but kind of like rein it back in and say, okay, all this is good, but what can I do now? And master that exact thing that I'm doing. So for example, like right now it's building friendships. I'm not planning other events or anything huge until I master and I allow myself to go through the process. And so that's been really helpful. And just being like, dedicated, for sure, like dedicated to what you're called to do or what your business is. And then, just take the steps. I feel like sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and we want to go fast paced, and sometimes going slow it wins the race versus trying to do everything at once. So just having that self-discipline, having that, even like, and it might be the opposite of self-mastery, but I think sometimes allowing yourself to fail, like when you fail, don't just like, beat yourself over the failure, but learn to get back up and get right back on the seat and go and continue. Um, so yeah, definitely like the discipline and the mindset to keep on going, even when it looks like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, and when we talked about this whole self-mastery piece, when we talked prior, we talked about that mindset. It is a mindset, it's a growth mindset, not a fixed
Mhm.
mindset. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of really good key pieces of advice in what you just had to say. So thinking about that, can you tell us what is probably like the greatest advice that you ever received from someone that has helped transform you?
Wow. I've been thinking about like just different, advice. And I think that, well, I think maybe the best advice is just have like, it's okay to be not okay. Like when it comes to like figuring out this journey, because sometimes I feel for me how this works is sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I feel like I'm called to do, or what I know, like in my knower, in my gut, right? What I'm supposed to do. And sometimes it's okay not to have a plan and just go with it. And so that's how I operate. And to me, that has been like so much like I guess the stress comes off because I don't have to perform. I don't have to try to make things happen. I just go if I'm supposed to do something and I feel it, I just kind of walk it and I learn through the process. So I think, letting go and being okay, not being okay, which basically means it's okay to kind of walk this journey, even if you don't know what you're doing. But as you take that one step, or as we say, like in the church culture, that step of faith, God is going to meet you there because that's honoring to Him. Like you are bold enough to say, I'm just going to trust God. Don't know what this looks like, but it's going to be an adventure. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a vulnerable place to be, right?
yes. And I say that all the time. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Like, this is just my life. Like I'm just kind of throwing myself into this, So,
Yeah. Sounds like you have a lot of intuition as well. And I'm sure a lot of that does come from God.
yes, for sure. I mean, I couldn't do it without him because, yeah, it would be one crazy ride.
Yeah. Yeah. So remember that is always to give ourselves grace to make sure that we just know nobody else knows our deadlines. We set them, nobody else knows our plans. So they don't know if we're going to fail, right? Which failure isn't really an end all be all. It's just a setback. But to follow your gut, I really do like that because a lot of times our experiences from the past, right? When the brain is looking for evidence from the past, if something is going to work or not work, that's where we get that intuition piece, or that's where we get that feeling that we call it's just my gut. My gut is telling me this, or it could be a calling, it could be guidance, it just could be intuition. But I think it's a very important, distinct, innate thing that we all have that we have to listen to.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I am so excited to follow up with you and just see where your journey takes you. I've got a couple questions for you, but I want to switch gears a little bit if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So just looking at your journey and how you've developed and you've grown, what is something that you've either done or maybe even a book that you've read that you feel everybody should do or everybody should read?
Oh my gosh. So I just finished this book. Are you familiar with Bob Goff?
No, I'm not.
Bob Goff, he's amazing. He's all about ambition, all about chasing your dreams. And the book is called Dream Big. And
Okay.
so I love it. He just talks about like, when you get that download of what to do next when it comes to business or in ministry, whatever the case, to kind of like take that step of faith, because if it's in your head, basically it's just like candy in there, like nothing's happening, it's just stuck in there. But being able to just follow your ambition and being able to just grow. And I love doing audibles because he has that fun voice and
Ah,
he is amazing. He's just really fun to listen to, very encouraging. He's an attorney, now turned like, I guess, life coach, writes all these books and, yeah, he's awesome. But I think everyone should read at least a Bob Goff book, if not that one.
okay, Bob Goff. I'm going to add
Yeah.
that to my Audible as soon as we are done here today.
Yes,
Thank you
you'll
for
love
that recommendation. All right. So outside of work, what does Esmeralda like to do? What are your hobbies? What are your interests and your
Oh
passions?
my gosh, girl, I love to do everything. Well, first, I have to tell you, like I love to dance. Like my thing is dancing and going to the gym and doing Zumba. Like that is my happy place. Like, my husband's like, he can tell when I started going to classes, he's like, yep, Elda me showed up again. Cause I love being able to just release all that. I'm a foodie. I love like street tacos are like my favorite. So definitely like any kind of tacos, like I will try it. So yeah, eating and dancing. So it's typical Mexican, right?
Hey, that sounds like a fun life.
Yeah, it is fun. So yeah, that's pretty much, other than like, spend time with family, but definitely love to just, enjoy and dance. And it's just a beautiful thing. Like it's my happy place.
An everyday fiesta.
Yes, yes, so true.
That's great. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit more serious question because I know that you had talked about leadership before and how you're the leader, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you always have to lead everything, right? And I know
Mhm.
that there's so many people that come from this corporate America world, and our culture just in the United States is this mindset of the manager and leadership. I mean, it's not a brand new topic, right? We have people that have been talking about this for several decades, but it's still emerging in our culture. So tell me, when it comes to leadership, what do you think are like the three most important qualities of a leader?
So for sure, having clarity of your vision, because if you don't know where you're going, then when you lead people, they're just wandering. So having just a clear vision is one. And I think also just integrity, like across the board, like just, yeah, that's so important. I feel like you want people to be able to look at you and say, yep, I trust that person because of like what they say is gold, right? Um, and then I think just being authentic and being able to like, if you make a mistake or, you know, I have been under leadership that, they've either offended someone and they were quick to correct it. They did not like play with it to the next day. As soon as they realized that they said something, and just being authentic and being who you are and vulnerable, I think it's super important because that is just like it brings more unity when when people can talk to you without the fear of, oh, is she going to cut me out, or what I'm saying, like being able just to be real for sure is very important in leadership.
Yeah, a couple other words come to my mind. So, approachable or
Yeah.
open-minded, all of these different things. I know I told you a little bit about my research when we spoke last, and I found this authenticity piece to come up over and over and over again throughout my entire research study, which all had to do with women business owners and their own development, their self-mastery, and their self-efficacy, right?
Mhm.
And that authenticity is what really bridged the gap for them. And actually, it's what moved the needle for them in their businesses because they could form more genuine, long lasting connections, whether that's with clients that are going to return, people that are going to refer them out. Maybe that's a vendor relationship, but there is that authenticity piece that is so important.
Yes, yes. I mean, I really truly believe that because I think that's like, I mean, for me, foundational. Like you have to be authentic, you just
Mhm.
have to.
Yeah. and the integrity piece too. So for those of you that know me, you know I'm a numbers girl. I'm the researcher at heart, and I really love data and statistics. And I had read something just a few months ago, and I kind of knew this in the back of my head, talking about this integrity piece, but I never realized like the numbers for me put things in perspective. And it said that people on average tell over 200 lies a day.
Wow.
You're like, what? Over what? It could be, I mean, the silliest things in the world, right? But on average, people tell over 200 lies a day. I think that
I'm about
that's,
to catch myself.
I know.
It's
Not
like,
saying
what?
that's everybody, right? But it could be the
Right.
littlest thing in the world. Like, did you eat breakfast? Uh-huh. No, did you take care of yourself today? Little
Yeah.
tiny things. They're not detrimental to a relationship. They're not meant to hurt anybody. They're not meant to be unethical, but little tiny lies. That number to me was so profound.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I'm going to be checking myself now.
Right. And other people, like, but did you?
Like, really? Did you?
I mean, how many times do we even have to ask our kids, did you brush your teeth? Did you?
Yes. Did you put the lid down? Because,
Uh-huh.
yeah, no.
Yeah. Little tiny things. Oh no, maybe I didn't. I'm gonna go do that now, mommy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I love it. So I want to get silly on you for a couple minutes, if that's okay.
Yes. Let's do
So
it.
first question, I love this one. It really does have a lot of impact and meaning and stuff behind it. But I don't want you to read into that too much. But if you could be an animal, what would you be and why?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think an eagle, because I would want to see things from a different perspective, and I know it's a light question, but seriously, like I'm kind of a control freak sometimes. And so I want to make sure everything is going the way I want it to go. And so how do you do that? Well, by flying, and you can see over the circumstance or the land. But I think it's just freeing to fly and eat worms, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, an eagle. I like that. So, think about your favorite vacation spot, or is there somewhere that you want to go that you haven't been to yet? Where is that?
Ooh, okay, well, for sure, I am a Disney gal. Like,
Ah,
I can do Disney every single summer if I could. Yeah. So I've been there a few times already, and I love it. So that's my go-to, when we start planning. But I think I would love to go to Ireland. I feel like being able to go and visit the castles and just the culture, like that is my dream, like vacation spot. So
okay.
that would be fun.
You like the
And plus,
majestic piece.
yeah, and then I get to see my husband in a skirt. So that's pretty fun.
Yes, that would be epic, huh? So you said Disney World. Do you like roller coasters? Do you ride all the rides?
I do. Well, except for there's that the one that drops, which is
Mhm.
the
The
House of
tower?
Terror, whatever it's called. Yeah. But everything else, oh, and dinosaurs. I don't do dinosaurs. I went one time and I freaked out. I'm terrified of lizards.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Like I don't do well with lizards. And so to me, that's just a big giant lizard like yelling at me. And I'm like, that's too much for me. So I don't
That's
mess with the
hilarious.
dinosaurs.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah, we're actually planning a trip to Disney World this summer as well. So, what
Oh,
would be your favorite roller coaster?
what's my favorite one?
Hmm.
Um, Aerosmith.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
love. They have that Aerosmith one at one of the parks. That's pretty fun. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna think of you when I'm on
Yeah.
that ride in a couple months from now.
Yes.
Oh man. So tell us, what is the best joke you've ever heard?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I feel like I don't retain a lot of the jokes. I think I'm more of the joke. I do love comedy. Like I love what is her name? Is it Angela Johnson, the one nail chick?
Uh-huh.
I love her stuff. I just can't think of a good joke right now.
I do love her though. She's great.
Yes, she is
Yes.
pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I like watching her when she comes on well, even like on, social media, a video will pop up and I'm like, I have to watch it because she really is hilarious.
Yes, she is. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Esmeralda, for letting us get to know you a little bit today and telling us about your
Sure.
journey and your vision. You really do have an amazing, beautiful vision. And I just hope and I just pray that God allows Flourish to flourish, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Good, good. That was the hope. So if people are looking for you, how can they find you?
Okay, so we have a website and it's flourish.org and it's again FLRSH. Instagram is also flourish. Hold on, because I think that just changed. But on Facebook, you can look us up and we have a group and a page on there. And then Instagram. So
Okay. So if you're
yeah.
a woman and you are looking for connection and maybe some ministry and those types of things, definitely find Flourish. Esmeralda, like I said, she has an amazing vision, and I know that she's got a hope for the future to reach out to more and more and more women that just need the support. We are all here to be sisters in Christ, and I will definitely be connecting with you more and more through Flourish as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Esmeralda.